So this past week I heard two completely separate but equally disturbing pieces of news. First, I heard that an NBA player was caught betting on NBA games and was subsequently being banned for life. Then later in the week I heard that a college basketball player was sent to 6 years in prison for a DUI crash. But what I didn't realize until later was that these two random stories are connected by blood. These dudes are brothers, the two younger brothers of Michael Porter Jr., who plays for the Nuggets. So before really diving into any of this stuff, my first thought was, damn, it's been a rough week for the Porter family. This is Michael Porter Jr., and I admit this was the only Porter besides his dad I knew of before the video. So imagine my surprise when I take a surface level look into their family. I came across this picture and thought, this can be my thumbnail. Then I found this. Bro, for real? First off is 8 of them. That's a lot of Porters, and every single one of these cats is a hooper. When I say every single one, yeah, even the dad, yeah, even the mom, all the girls and all the boys. That's Bree and Sierra, who won 3 straight state titles in high school before going on to play at Missouri. Then you got Michael, who was High School Player of the Year and recently won an NBA title and might be about to get another one. Then it's Jontay, Coban, Javon, Isaac, and Jada. And like I said, bro, all of them hoop. Bro, I almost got sidetracked by this fact alone. But then I remember what brought me here in the first place. In late March, the NBA launched an investigation into Jontay. Jontay is a year younger than his older brother, Michael. The whole family was close, but given the age proximity, Jontay was Michael's right-hand man. The investigation found that Jontay Porter, who played for the Raptors and their G League affiliate, was, quote, disclosing confidential information to sports bettors. And check this out, bro, limiting his own participation in one or more games for betting purposes. That first part is wow, but that last part is wow. It just feels like a move you can never come back from. So this is a football channel, right? So obviously I'm gonna compare this to the most high profile player betting case in the NFL. Calvin Ridley, right? A few years back was suspended for a year and got crushed by a lot of people. But if the reports about Jontay Porter are true, this is so much worse than anything Ridley did. He didn't look at his team and say, okay, so I'm hurt, this person hurt, ooh, they getting extra treatment. So look, you should take the under on me and I want you to put in my bet for the other team to win because we pretty banged up. When Ridley bet on his team, he only ever bet on his team to win. And I made that point in real time. And most of y'all who can see at least 2 dimensions deep into a situation understood what I was saying, but some pushed back. This Jontay Porter situation shows the other side of it, a far less innocent side of pro player sports betting. According to the reports, he was disclosing confidential team info, like this person's gonna be limited in the rotation. This person's ankle is worse than what was reported. Those are made up examples, by the way. I don't know the exact details. So back in March, sports books uncovered irregular betting on over-under prop bets. The bets were on Jontay's stats in 2 Raptors games, meaning there was a crazy spike in total money that was bet on the under for all Jontay's props in those 2 games. Then in both of those games, Jontay exited after playing way less minutes than he generally averaged. This alone ain't enough to ban the man from the league, but it's enough to raise a red flag and trigger an investigation. The NBA found that Jontay had revealed information about his own health to known sports bettors. Ahead of a March 20th game against the Kings, they all took the under and those bets hit. Another bettor privy to the information placed $80,000 on the same game parlay bet that also featured the unders on Jontay's stats, and if the bet hit, which we know the unders would, he'd win $1.1 million. Jontay played 3 minutes before leaving the game with an illness, which is obviously easy to fake. We all did it back in the day to get out of a day of school. Then when your mom left for work, you went straight outside to play basketball, which is ironic. The investigation also uncovered that Jontay placed at least 13 bets on NBA games using someone else's account. Now these bets wasn't like that $1 million bet that we just talked about. His total payout was like $76,000. Also, none of his personal bets involved any games that he actually played in, unlike the tip he gave out. But they believe he used team info that he was privy to, because unlike Ridley, he bet on his own team to lose. This is one of those things you have to read into a little bit. If you're just doing it for fun, most athletes would bet on their actual team to win the game. Well, Flem, maybe he just didn't think his team could win that one. But bro, it's 82 games. Just bet on a different one. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure y'all played the Pistons at some point. And furthermore, when they found that you leaking info about your playing time to big time sports bettors, presumably for payment, I can't put it past you that you'll also use confidential team information to make informed decisions to bet against your own team. They also reported spike bets, once again taking the under on all Jontay's stats in a game before they played the Clippers. Just so happened, Jontay only played in this game for 4 minutes before leaving the game with issues supposedly related to an eye injury he suffered earlier in the week. He finished with no points, 3 rebounds, and 1 assist, all under the lines that the sportsbook had set. Now, in my opinion, it's definitely possible to see that a man got hurt in the previous game. He's turning right around and still attempting to play in this one. And I'm gonna take the damn under because I think he's still hurt. The problem is the same account he leaked the other info to are the same accounts whose bets spiked crazy this time as well. And once you got a track record, I expect you to do it again. All I'm trying to say is, the next time Usher on stage with Alicia, you're gonna see Swiss beats. So to recap, he disclosed information to prominent bettors, then had extremely limited play times in the games where they bet the under, had them bet the under and played limited minutes in all of those games. Then he made bets himself from an alternate account, which also included bets against his own team. The fact that he's doing stuff like this and working with big time bettors means you can't trust the dude like ever again. If he's on any team in a high leverage situation, bettors are gonna reach out for information again. And if he's upset about the way that things are going with the team, or they offer him a financial amount that he just can't refuse, who's gonna say he wouldn't do this again and again and again? You really can't come back from this. I know one of the things I'm gonna get, bro, a lot of this stuff is predictable. I remember back in the day I did a video on Brian Cushion, who tested positive multiple times for steroids. And there's people in my comments saying, well, he's not the only one that's doing it. And I was like, you understand you can't get punished unless you get caught. And once you get caught, there's gotta be punishment. I know you think you wanna just be able to do whatever you want with no consequences, but that ain't what you want. There's rules in place. Look, some of them are stupid, but the steroid rule and the sports betting rule are completely necessary to keep the sports that we love even somewhat remotely watchable. They're never gonna keep these games 1000% clean, but that doesn't mean drop your guard completely. Why play defense at all if Mahomes still gonna throw for 400? Because if you don't, he gonna throw for 800. Now this does raise the question about sports gambling as a whole. A lot of people think it's hypocrisy that the leagues work with betting companies, but then turn around and punish players for betting. They think that's wrong of these leagues, and I couldn't agree less. If you follow me for any length of time, you know I lean heavy on the player side. But unlike our political party systems, I never make up my mind before I hit an issue. I listen to each situation individually. I think about it. I look at history. I think, what's the ramifications? I listen to arguments for it. I listen to arguments against it. And I use that information to inform how I feel about the situation. This is probably going to be controversial because it's real and doesn't feel good. But you know how I am, bro. Like, I prefer not to speak on it unless I'm going to tell you how I really feel. Obviously, you can feel free to disagree with me, and if you make a good enough point, I'll even change my position. But to me, we live in a country where every single person does everything they can to maximize their money, maximize their popularity, maximize their influence. Businesses and normal people have pretty much merged. We even applaud people who operate outside our stated morals, as long as what they're doing gets engagement, as long as it's bringing in some money. Anybody who speaks against something that's generating revenue, that person's a hater. What other explanation could there be? Living in that damn reality, at the same time, we expect these leagues to just turn down this sports betting money without offering a way to replace even a portion of the revenue they'll lose. I said this before, but I don't hold nobody to a higher standard than I hold myself. So if I wouldn't do it without a shadow of a doubt, I wouldn't expect you to do it. Now my brain does scale these things to certain percentages. Hopefully you can understand that, you know what I'm saying? Everything is relative. If I believe the leagues just turning down the sports money would fix everything, then I might actually be for it, but it won't. All the people who bet are just gonna bet elsewhere, and then all that revenue is gonna go to a different source. Before betting was super accessible like it is now, you had cats like Pete Rose and many others like him. So these leagues not dealing with betting companies ain't gonna stop players who wanna bet on games from betting on games. Now I understand, bro, it's easier and more accessible today than it ever was at any other point in history. That's literally the same thing across the damn board. Everything's easier and more accessible than ever. Hopping in DMs, I can tweet at LeBron James. Bro, you think you can get in contact with Michael Jordan back in the day? You used to need a camera and a little editing skill to be a content creator. Now you just need a phone. The majority of people used to be hot in the summertime. Now the majority of people have air conditioning. I'm getting sidetracked. As humans continue to make things easier for ourselves, it's gonna create some new issues because that's how things work. We gotta start using our brain to actually think of some creative solutions other than cats saying just go back to how it was. That's never gonna happen. Welcome to the future. We're gonna have some new problems that need some new solutions. Some of them might not feel great, but if they actually make sense, we might have to roll with them, bro. Everything can't go your damn way. We're like a bunch of kids. You can't always get your way. It's consequences to your actions, bro. It gotta work like that. It don't mean you gotta villainize these people and treat them like crap. Do you do that to your kids when you inflict their punishments? No, I hope not. But they still gotta be punished to keep things at least to a certain level of order. If not, we basically living in the Wild West, at which point sports just become irrelevant. Listen, bro, if you actively manipulating games for sports betting purposes and you get caught, you can't be in the league. Bro, they gotta ban you to try to scare all the other cats that's doing this, hoping that most of them will stop, hoping that the ones who was thinking about doing the same damn thing or have done the same thing a few times will chill out. And if they get caught, the president has now been set. They gotta get them out of there, bro. That's just how it gotta go. If not, public trust will erode even further. If known violators, I repeat, known violators are still in the league, bro, I'm not watching that. You can't allow betting on the games by the players at all because it just creates too many potential issues. Even if he bet the over on himself and then refuse to pass the ball, it'll create hella problems that'll be abused in a million ways. But bro, his whole damn family hooped every day. Basketball is their thing. Always has been. So to get banned from the NBA at 24 years old, I gotta say, that's a rough day for the Porter family. What's worse for the Porter family is that a few days later, Jontay's younger brother got even worse news. To break this one down though, we gotta go back a little, back to January of 2023. Coban Porter was out at 2 a.m. His blood alcohol level was twice the legal limit, and he was driving in Denver without a care in the world, going 50 miles per hour in a 30 miles per hour zone. Kobe then runs a red light and crashes into Kathy Rothman, who at the time was out driving Uber. And listen, man, it ain't like Coban just had like one drink, at least not according to the description from the police. Police said he had bloodshot and watery eyes, slurred and mumbling speech, and a strong odor of an alcoholic beverage on his breath. He also had a Bud Light paper wristband on, an image that's probably burned into the family's head. Kathy had a young son and a husband. She drove Uber for the same reason I did back in the day, the same reason most people do, to make a little extra money in order to help take care of her family. Coban runs the light, crashes into her, and now her husband's raising their kid all by himself. Coban met with the family against the wishes of his lawyer to apologize in person for what had happened. Now, as you might imagine, that apology doesn't really do much for Kathy's husband, for Kathy's son, or for her mom, who was also present during the meeting. But Coban wanted to express his remorse, and maybe years down the line, they'll be able to forgive him for what he unintentionally did. But I'm a pretty empathetic person, and I don't know where I would have to go mentally to even try to start forgiving a person for something like that. You just uprooted their life, a life they've been building. The same way you was building your life and now that whole thing's been derailed, they was building their life together. And while you made a mistake, they didn't actually do anything wrong. And now, you know what I'm saying? A mom is gone, a wife is gone, a daughter is gone, and it's literally on you, and you're still here. And now they gotta try to process that while mourning at the same time. But now over a year later, he's been sentenced to 6 years in prison. In the same week, his brother got banned from the league. So yeah, a rough week for the Porters, but an even rougher past year for Kathy's family. And prayers go out to them. Of course, this situation also has a football equivalent. Henry Ruggs is in prison now for pretty much the same thing. Now, of course, he was driving a lot faster overall, but Coban ran a red light. Both terribly dangerous infractions while driving under the influence. And it led directly to 2 women losing their lives. And it saddens me, bro. It It's not fair to the women. But that's the two stories that were connected, and I think they hit even harder when told in succession. 2 of the 8 Porter kids within the last week faced life-altering punishments for their own actions. But listen, bro, it's rough on the family nonetheless. And if you have kids, they're gonna do some stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? The same way you did as a kid. And other families will be affected, man. Maybe worse than y'all. But at the end of the day, in this hypothetical situation, both of the families are gonna go through it. One family has it worse, but they both have it bad. I always try to make this point, and a lot of people hate it. And I get it, because once again, it doesn't feel good. I know it feels better to treat the person who's at fault as an undeniable villain who we can detach all human qualities from. But in situations like this, bro, I just refuse to do that. So let's just pray that our kids, our brothers, our cousins, nephews, that their mistakes don't take anybody's life. And let's pray that other people's mistakes don't take our people's lives, which we can get closer to if we all just a little more responsible. Let's hope our people don't get banned from the field or the company that they worked their whole life to be a part of. Let this be a warning to you and your loved ones to make better choices if we want better outcomes.